off into sleep, and you're kind of halfway aware of what's happening on the TV, and you just kind of go off, but you have this sort of surreal in between. That happened to me last night. Okay, I'm reading, kind of going over my material, and the guys come in the cabin, and they're just kind of talking, and I'm starting to fade off, and I hear this meowing sound. And, I'm thinking the camp director didn't warn us about cats. I thought maybe it's really effeminate raccoon. And then I heard the guys say, hey, there's a cat, and then I heard them laughing. No, that's the wrong word. They were giggling. The cat, and then the last thing I remember fading off is, don't worry, Cliff said he can sleep through anything. So I don't know what happened to the cat. I don't know what happened to anything else, but I was just really glad that I woke up in one piece. So I think there's a cat story in there somewhere. I'm just not sure where. And also, I wanted to give a special thanks to Jason for his testimony last night. I can get up here and talk to you guys about a lot of different things, but when you guys share your own testimonies, I know you each have one. It's very compelling. I frankly think it's more powerful than anything I can share with you. So, thank you for sharing that, Jason. And And I also want to thank you for inviting me out to join all you guys here at Camp Kawkawa. Does anyone know what Kawkawa means? It means loons. Is that appropriate or not? I found another definition, another translation on Google Maps. It means a long way from California. But what an awesome camp of beautiful scenery, gorgeous lake, right? One of God's many masterpieces. Also, as Jason said, I perform comedy and do inspirational talks. But that's just my second career. My full-time job is in sales. I consult with auto dealerships on their business documents, promotional products, direct mail pieces, that kind of thing. And I share that with you because it's important for you to know that I'm not a pastor or in full-time ministry. I'm just a working guy who loves God and calls Jesus Christ my Lord and Savior. And I'm a Christian who faces many of the same day-to-day issues and challenges as you men do. I'm one of many Christian men in our Northside Church congregation in Clovis, California, just as you all are here in the Calvary Baptist congregation. I'm speaking with you as someone sitting in church, listening to the pastor's sermon, being convicted and inspired by God's Word. And I don't know, when we look at what Pastor Chris does, or where's Pastor Chris this morning? Is he here this morning?
He's got a wedding.
Oh, that's right, he had to leave early. He's mentioned that. I won't take that personally. So, he told me that yesterday. When we look at what Pastor Chris does, or other people in full-time ministry do, it's easy to think of them as having some of God's special sauce. That they have a special call for service. And of course, ministry is a pastor's full-time job. And it's a big job. God anoints pastors to serve his kingdom in a powerful way. But it's easy for us to look at what they do as ministry being only the pastor's job. That leadership is the pastor's job. And it is, but not exclusively. Right? Leadership and ministry, outreach, and evangelism is also our job, our privilege, the men in the church. As the men in the church, we can actually serve God in a very powerful way. And my goal by the time we end our time together tomorrow morning is that each of you will more clearly see, I know you already see it, but more clearly see how the small things are the big things in God's kingdom. And that what we can do as men can make a very big impact with that limited time. And while doing so, we can also be men who have a lot of fun, right? As we're going to have this weekend. We can experience abundant blessings. And we can be men who feel genuine peace and joy in the midst of life's many challenges and problems. Sound good? Yeah. Okay, now in addition to our time this morning, I want to talk with you. Yeah, just as Jordan was stuck with me for 3 hours in the car, you guys are stuck with me for 3 sessions. So this morning what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the slight edge. How simple, spiritual, and life disciplines can yield great blessings, great success and joy. And if you'd like more blessings, more success, and joy in your life, here's the good news. It's easy. And I'll explain why. Now, tonight we're going to discuss the different ways as men, just by being ourselves, just by being who we are, demonstrating the talents we did this morning, can have a big impact on our church and in our community. And then tomorrow morning I'm going to talk about I'm going to share my personal testimony And I want to talk about, frankly, how I was a reluctant servant to answer God's call. All my life, my adult life, I've been called to participate in this area, to serve in that area, to participate over here, and I've usually said no. Not me, God. I'm too busy. I'm not qualified. You got the wrong guy. I know better than you. And yet, despite my stubbornness and my reluctance, God is God. And he put circumstances and people in my life that helped me take those first steps of obedience. Now, I'm going to reference Bible verses along the way, but mostly talk from my own experience with how God has worked in my life. This is Bible study with a twist, a pop culture twist. And not just teasing about bringing out your Bibles. It's true. David became a great king. But he had a weakness. He lacked the ladies. He did. I feel his pain. One night, David was on the roof of his palace. He saw a beautiful married woman named Bathsheba. Well, as a powerful president, a king, David knew how to be persuasive. Knew how to get what he wanted. What followed is a complicated and tragic story. The short version, David got Bathsheba pregnant, had her husband killed in battle. He spun a web of lies. If I was his advisor, you know what I do? Oh, yes, you do. He said, David, you have to deny. David, you have to deny. You have to say this, just like this. I want to say one thing to the people of Israel. I want you to listen to me. I want to say it again. I did not have a relationship with that woman, Miss Bathsheba. But David could not hide the truth from God, and what David had done angered God. So the fruits of our spirit really show our place in God's kingdom. Now in Luke 6:38, Jesus says, give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Well, over the next couple of days, these are going to be reoccurring themes and principles. Being connected to Jesus, being in a relationship with him, being a light to others, demonstrating the fruits of the Spirit, and freely giving of yourselves, experiencing God's abundance in life. So let me get into details of practical application, right? This is a kind of a group and a study of practical application. What does this really mean in my life? What can we do to take with it? And if you've ever been in a long-term relationship, you already know it takes work, right? And you know this, love is blind. For about a year. When we were dating, I was blind to my wife's attention deficit disorder. But a few months after our wedding, my blindness was healed. Now, some of you might think attention deficit disorder, what's the big deal? Right? A lot of people have that. Well, let me give you just one recent example of how my wife's ADD sabotages our relationship. Okay, it's 7:30 on a Thursday night. My wife is down in the hallway working on a craft, finishing up some crafts in the crafts room. I'm relaxing on the living room couch, reading a book with our cat Cleopatra lying next to me. Okay, now we both had a hectic schedule, hardly seen each other all week. And I'm thinking, hey, when she's done, we might actually have some time for a little romance. Well, a few minutes later, she walks in. And I go, hey, babe, are you done? She stops, stares at the cat, and then stares at me and says, oh, you're with her again. You spend more time with Cleopatra than you do with me. I don't know why I got that cat. Well, I'm just giving you one example of how she acts when she doesn't get enough attention from me. Attention deficit disorder. Yeah, you've all been there. I know. It warps her thinking. So I say, oh, come on, babe. Come sit down next to me. And I'll scratch behind your ears, too. Well, I thought it was funny, break the ice, break the tension. No, her final word as she stormed out, we never should have got that cat. Well, just a few moments earlier, I pictured the evening unfolding much differently. But because of her ADD, she goes to bed upset. I go to bed confused. And the cat goes to bed with one eye open. You guys guys all relate, I know, right? But I say that to make a point. Relationships do need our attention and time and our communication. And for those of you going to my story, which is a relatively short story, we talked about the fact we're all a bunch of mutts, you know, and we do bring different mixes and different talents and interests into the church, and that's a good thing. But in and of themselves, that doesn't mean a lot. But when we can be the branch that's connected to the vine of Jesus, when we're in relationship with Him, we can take that unique man that we are and then connect it with the Holy Spirit, and now we're using that to be the light to others. We're demonstrating the fruit of the Spirit. We're freely giving of ourselves and those talents to our community, to our church, to our loved ones. And then in the process, we're not only getting an abundance of blessings from God, it's a natural afterflow, but we're becoming a real blessing to others. And before I go any further, I do want to kind of touch on something that happened last night that's really troubled my heart. Risk. One of the fruits of the Spirit is peace. And forgiveness. In the immortal words of the movie Frozen, let it go.
And Jason, you can't edit this out later.
And in the spirit of brotherly love and fondness, I would love Clarence and Jason just to shake hands.
Picture moment, picture moment.
But that's what's so fun. I also talked to you guys about how you give your gifts, and sometimes they seem like they're in small ways and in big ways.
Okay, hi. My name's Trevor Newton, and I'm a member of Calvary Baptist Church. And we just had the pleasure of having Cliff Hall speak to our men on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's been an incredible experience. Cliff shared from his life certain messages that really touched me, and I appreciate that very much. And his humor, although it is American, it worked just great in Canada. So thank you very much, Cliff. God bless you.
Clifford Hall joined us this weekend for a series of shows, events, evenings and mornings with one another where he shared a lot of his comedy, which is fantastic. Even his impersonations, he tells you he's not a great impersonator at times, but he's a phenomenal impersonations of some of the characters, and shared some stories of his life that really touched the men of Calvary from Vancouver, BC. We're very appreciative, great guy, very funny. Would strongly recommend having him at your church.
Well, we were really appreciative of Cliff Hall coming down and sharing with us. He had a great testimony. The messages were fantastic, and the big thing about it was that he became part of our group, and he basically learned about us and showed that he cared about us, and it was wonderful just to have him part of us. You know, he could have been sequestered off into his cabin, but no, he was with us and did a fantastic job, so we're so happy that he came.